Hi, welcome back to our talk on lessons that we learn through aging. This is John Patrick Hickey, and I'm trying to share with you some lessons that I've learned as I've gone through my 70-some years of life. And one of the things that I want to touch on as we end these different points in this series is that of change. And that is, if I've learned anything, I've learned that change happens. Sounds simple enough, but believe me, people don't expect it. Sometimes people seem shocked that things change, that things can change quickly too. Life does not give us a warning before it makes a change in our life, and it can be massive. It can change everything all at once. We as a family, a few years back, we had a suicide in our family. Our lives, not just a life, all of our lives changed at that moment, never to be the same again. Everything changed. It was this flash of massive, unexpected change. We didn't expect it to happen, obviously. We didn't know what would happen. And yes, there are things that we were able to cope with, we were able to move on. Life continues. As I talked about in an earlier video, there are some wounds that do not heal. But we've learned to continue on and to deal with things. But everything changed. And if you've had a family that has experienced a loss, experienced a sudden dramatic loss, then you know what that is. People who have suffered car accidents, people who have gone through catastrophic weather conditions, where everything is fine and you're living a life and things are good, and in just moments a tornado happens and everything that you have is gone. You know, this happens. It seems like something in a movie, but it happens. It happens to hundreds of people all the time. We have to understand that change is not something that is a progressive, simple, or even difficult thing that goes on in life that we have control over. That's how most of us see change. That we either want it or we don't want it, or we debate about it in the things that we're looking at. Change can happen in a moment, and it can happen massively, and we have to accept it. The change happens, and nothing will be the same again. See, that is the important part, and it's not just once. This can happen many times. That change happens constantly in our life. Sometimes it's a good change, sometimes it's not a good change. You know, we suffer loss, we suffer gain. Either way, things are never the same again. So, here's a word of advice. Hold things loosely. Corrie ten Boom, who was a survivor of the Holocaust, she always used to say that she held things very loosely. That way that God did not have to pry them out of her hands. And that's how we have to look at things. We hold them loosely. Doesn't mean we don't care about them. Doesn't mean that we treat everything as indifferent and we just really don't care and we're not going to love anybody and we're not going to love anything because why? We're going to lose it anyways. That's not the way that we deal with things. But we do understand that change can happen and we can make it through it. We can survive that change. We can move through that change. But we can't make the change go away. We can't not allow it to happen. It just does. So we have to be ready for it at all times. That change can happen and will happen. So be ready for change in your life. I'm not saying be ready for some disaster to happen, but always live a life that will continue on, even with massive change, that it won't stop anything. Life will continue. It'll be different, but that's what change is all about. It's going to be different. But you will survive it, and you will continue to move forward, but change always happens. For the Growth Center, this is John Patrick Hickey, and I do want to encourage you to live your purpose and change your